This is Boxes and Briefs, a podcast with real-life business stories. But we will be asking the hard questions and challenging traditions. So broaden your thinking with fresh perspectives and solve problems for business success. Welcome to another episode of Boxes and Briefs. My name's Lisa.
I'm Kelly.
And today we have returning for another episode, Monique Bradley.
What an honour. I'm really stoked to be here. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you both.
welcome. For those who don't remember, multi-talented person sitting right here. She's a storyteller. Her background is in theatre techniques and authenticity to the business world through her work as a keynote speaker, MC and educator. Today we're talking about imposter syndrome. Dun, 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 dun.
I know, it is like that. It's like, wow, I can feel the force of Darth Vader somewhere in the room because it does hang over us like a really heavy mantle.
I think there is more awareness about it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anybody knows what to do with it.
Yep.
So that's what I want to get into.
Yep.
We've heard of it. Yep. It's when you feel like a fraud. So
yes,
the one I want to start with is people think it only affects beginners. People who are maybe stepping onto the stage or starting to speak at things or, you know, the beginning stuff. But actually it does stay with you for a long time. Mm-hmm. So why do experienced professionals still have imposter syndrome?
I love this question so much. It's because imposter syndrome does not discriminate, to be fair. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey. I'll get later in the chat, hopefully I have time to talk about where it starts from.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is when I was doing my research around this topic for my keynote speaking business, I started looking to international icons because I've come from film and theatre and television and music as well. The first time I heard about it was I was flying to LA about 10 years ago, and I picked up a copy of the Rolling Stone magazine, and there was a story about Mick Jagger.
Of course.
And he too, of course, right? Actually, my partner Pete picked it up, but of course I stole it because I can't help taking over everything. And so anyway, I got this magazine, and there was a story of Mick Jagger, and in the magazine he talked about the fact that before he goes on stage, he is so nervous and crippled with these feelings of who am I to go out on stage, he's just about throwing up.
Ooh.
And as soon as Mick Jagger. And as soon as he walks through the curtain, the alter ego of Mick Jagger takes over. It's like Beyonce has a character called Sasha Fierce.
Yes.
This alter ego. And this is what a lot of people actually develop to be able to publicly present themselves. It doesn't mean they're not being themselves. It's a part of them that they want to show the world and share with the world.
Okay.
So, and also in my research, I read about Lady Gaga, same thing. She wrote that every morning when she wakes up, she still feels like that geeky 16-year-old at school who doesn't quite fit in, who, you know, they set up a Facebook group for her.
Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah.
You know, it was all about hate speech around her and how she would never be successful. And she still feels every single day like that person. And so every single day she has to wake up and go, who do I want to be today? Mm-hmm. And what am I here to do? And how am I going to serve the people that I serve? So it doesn't matter where you are in your business journey. So often, in fact, people who are starting on their business journey are really freshly excited about the work they're going to do.
Yes.
So they have a lot more confidence than people like us who have been in business for a long time and have been knocked around.
Yeah.
Or you're growing your business and you have a team, and suddenly you realise as a business owner or a business leader, you are responsible for not just feeding you and your family, but also your team and their families.
Yes.
Like suddenly there's this massive weight of responsibility, and that can manifest as a state of, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
Oh my God, how did I get here?
Or why do people want to ask me these questions?
Yeah. Why do they trust me? Why do they see me as an expert?
Yeah.
It's this constant overwhelm. So it affects everybody equally.
Bastard.
It's the only real response you can have, really. I hope that kind of answers your question.
Well, what's the difference between imposter syndrome and healthy self-doubt? The
Is there
humility,
such a thing
the
as
humble.
healthy self-doubt?
Hey?
Healthy self-doubt, is there really such a thing?
That was funny you say that, because that's my response as well.
Okay.
Healthy self-doubt. So it is natural to have self-doubts. Our brain is hardwired to to protect us from risk.
Which
So-
means staying inside the comfort zone.
Yeah, that's it. It keeps us
Yeah.
inside that comfort zone. So when we're starting to have self-doubts, yes, it can be, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. We need to learn to understand in our body, is this the feeling of risk and the wrong thing? Or is it my brain trying to protect me? It started off when we were cavemen, and it was our brain's ability to be able to recognise danger and threats. So, saber-toothed tiger. Through learnt experience, I know not to go over and pet one, as an example, right? And so that's my brain protecting me from risk. However, we don't have there's no more saber-toothed tigers around. So our brain still looks for all of these elements to stop us from getting out of that comfort zone or from to take risks, just to keep us alive.
Yep.
That's what it's designed to do. And so all of our ideas that are formed around what we should and shouldn't do are all formulated largely by the time we're 7.
Is that it?
That's it. So 70% of our identity, our beliefs, how we show up in the world are formulated by that age.
That's so early.
It really is. Because
Explains a lot for me.
It's around 6 to 7 that our brainwave functioning changes. So when we're under the age of 7, our brains are open to ideas and possibilities and potential, and we think and we dream, and anything become real. You can be Batman or Wonder Woman or whoever you want to be. And it's when this brainwave changes around that age that we're pretty much locked and loaded. So self-limiting beliefs start to show up, and they start from that age, and through life experiences we go, no saber-toothed tiger, no saber-toothed tiger. We affirm these beliefs throughout our life. Healthy self-doubt is when we go, I'm not sure if it's the right thing for me to do. How do I feel about that? And you give yourself some time to consider it. You might want to go and ask a friend. You might want to look at all the data, the details, and make a more informed decision. Where it becomes a problem and where it becomes this concept of imposter syndrome is when it starts to paralyse you. So where you've heard the term paralysis by overanalysis.
Yes.
That is a type of imposter syndrome.
Okay.
And it's usually associated with one of the archetypes of imposter syndrome called the perfectionist. Yeah. So
Hold on. How many archetypes are there?
Oh, there's 5.
5.
Oh, what are the other
5,
4?
What are they?
Created by Dr. Valerie Young. I've got them here.
Okay.
The first one is definitely the perfectionist. So that's where anything less than perfect feels like it's a failure.
Right.
The second one that you've got is Superman or Superwoman. And I have a tendency to be this one. It's where I cram my diary full of everything that I can, and I have to achieve everything because I have to prove my worth to the world.
Oh.
So that's one that I've battled with. You've got the expert. So the expert is, I will keep learning and keep learning and keep learning, because then once I'm an expert, I can prove myself to the world. The only problem is those people never stop learning,
never stop
and
learning.
they have
It's a
failure to
lifelong
launch.
journey.
Yeah.
That's it. You've got the soloists, so they are people who aren't necessarily great at collaboration. And I mean this with love, and I say this because I've seen this behaviour, but these people, nothing is ever done right unless it's done by them, and anything, again, less than perfect is not going to be enough.
Okay.
And then you've got the natural genius, and the natural genius is very much about, look, they've got these incredible gifts, but because it is a gift, like for me, I was born, because my brain is neurodivergent, I was born with the gift of hyperlexia, which is an ability and understanding of language, which was beyond my years. So I was speaking in sentences before I could walk, as an example. And so for me, anything I do with words, well, of course it doesn't really have value, because number one, teachers used to tell me off all the time for talking too much. And number two, it's too easy, so it can't be work.
Oh, I like that one.
Right, so it's
Yeah.
all of these different archetypes. And so imposter syndrome, or the concept of it, and I
Yeah.
say it's a concept because I have a problem with the title, but this concept of these archetypes flow through every part of our lives. And to be honest, every time I speak to an audience, 90% of that audience is living with some sort of imposter syndrome on a daily basis.
Actually, a common one that comes through is when people try to put together a price for their work.
Yep.
Right? Valuing what you do with a monetary figure.
Yep.
I've seen that so often, especially startups. Once you're in charge of pricing, making your own proposals, how much do things cost? So imposter syndrome has an effect in there.
100%.
How do you deal with that one?
Well, it's especially hard when you are the product.
Yes.
Because you're valuing yourself then.
That's
Yes.
it.
You're saying, how much is my time worth? How much is my knowledge worth?
It's got to go beyond that. And so this is the way that I've started my journey, and I say started my journey because, we're all a work in progress. My journey of reconciliation around this. There's a great story I heard one time of this guy who goes to a mechanic, and he says to this guy, look, my car's not working, can you fix it? And the guy looks under the hood and he goes, yep, I can fix it. Great, how much is it going to cost? It'll cost you $1,800. And the guy goes, yep, I need my car. I really need it because, I'm out on the road, just fix it. So the mechanic lifts up the bonnet of the car, grabs a hammer, hits a part of the engine, and then suddenly the car starts. And the guy said, you took like 2 minutes to fix my car and you're charging me $1,800. He said, the value of what I'm giving you is not the 2 minutes that it took to fix the engine. It's the years of knowledge that I have to create this solution for you.
Mm-hmm.
So often we, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we get fixed on the hours that we spend, and we forget the value of knowledge that we've amassed over thousands and thousands of hours of study or lived experience and work experience, or the value of the transformation that we give our clients. That's what we should be focused on when it comes to pricing.
It's the value of your gift as well.
It's the value of your gift. So for me,
Yeah.
as a speaker, getting up on stage, I've just spoken in Honolulu as an example, and I know, so excited. I had the opportunity to transform the lives of a room full of people. What an honour. Now I know what the value of that is, because now people are messaging me from around the world going, I want to work with you, I need to change my mindset,
Oh,
I need to
that's
do this,
awesome.
I need to do that. I'm like, yeah, cool, we can do that. But it's knowing too, when you're pricing something for a client, if you're a coach as an example and you're going into work with a business and you can already see that within their business they've got money leaks, and you could instantly save them $50,000 to $100,000 by working with them. You don't talk about the hour of training that it's going to take to get them to do that. You look at the value of money you're going to save that client, and you factor your pricing out
Fair
based
point.
on that.
Okay, so what's a practical strategy somebody currently dealing with imposter syndrome could start doing today?
That's a great question. And I actually, when I thought about this question as well, I thought I want to really do a bit of research around this and think, what are the things that I've done over the years to help myself get through it?
Okay, so we're talking about actual experience.
Actual experience.
How much are you going to charge me for this?
Yeah, $1 million. I'm worth it. But that means if I make this mindset shift for you, that'll generate you $10 million in revenue.
Oh.
So there you go. No, the biggest thing that I think, which is the most actionable and the easiest, out of all of the strategies I teach, is actually what I call the evidence list. So you sit, you make time, you get a cup of tea, you go into a quiet space, and you start writing that list of evidence that proves all of the things or substantiates all of the great things you've done for others. So for me, one of the great exercises I love to do is I love to refresh my website. And one of the things I did last night, in fact, was I started putting a list of logos of brands that I've worked with.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, Dilmah, DeLonghi, Kenwood, United Fire Brigades Association of New Zealand, MB, Public Trust, like so many of them. And I put all these logos together and I put them on my website, and I looked and I went, damn, I don't suck too much. You know what I mean? Damn.
Yep.
Because if these other people are saying, we're going to book you for whatever work they book me for, whether I'm acting in an AA insurance commercial because I'm the right actor, or whether I'm doing videos for Public Trust on wills, or whatever the thing is, the action is, I am the right solution for them. Now, that doesn't define my personal value. It defines that I have a value in the professional world that serves someone else. And the key to really overcoming imposter syndrome is to stop thinking about yourself and to think how you serve.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with some more.
Boxes and Briefs is proudly brought to you by Gilligan Shepherd, the problem solvers in business.
All right, I've got a good one for you now. Fake it till you make it.
Oh, that's not a happy groan.
So I've heard things like, you referenced before about how people have a persona that they can use to put a piece of themselves out in public. But the fake it till you make it is almost like just pretend you've got it, do it, and then you'll see that you've got it. No?
Look, I learnt the term when I was actually in theatre.
Okay.
And so it was like, fake it till you make it, just get out on stage and just keep going and you're going to be fine. It has some merit in the fact that when these self-limiting beliefs that we create when we're young, if you think of them like chapters in a book, so your brain's a big library and it's filled with books that your brain writes through using all your senses. So through your experiences, it starts to write, oh, that's an interesting chapter, and writes it away and stores it away for when you need it, when you are trying to get out of your comfort zone, when you're trying to grow. And it goes, oh, remember that time, right? So when we're faking it till we're making it, there is some merit in the fact that we have the ability to change the stories through writing new ones, right? So it has some merit. However, in my experience in theatre, it can lead to a situation where one director I worked with said there are certain people who fake it till they make it, to the point where opinion exceeds talent.
Hold on, break that one down.
Hold on.
Okay, so sometimes people will fake it till they make it, till they believe the fake.
Ooh.
And so they're not actually delivering value. They're out of the realm of competency, so they're talking a big game,
Yes.
but they can't actually deliver.
Okay.
That's
it's
bad.
clicked for me, yeah.
Yep.
You with me?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's where opinion exceeds talent, and unfortunately I've seen that too many times. And that's okay, I love everybody equally, they can do that whole you
It's
do you
funny
boo.
because quite often when you get feedback, you'll take on what you want to hear. You're such a good speaker. You're not. Not you. I mean,
No,
somebody
yeah.
having it. You're a great speaker. Not what I mean.
Thanks. That's all good. I'm just wow, whatever.
But you know, when you get the feedback, because it's want to hear, you grab onto it and you'll hold on to it and you'll use that to
Well, certain
do the next
personas
thing.
will. Certain personas won't. So they can get 100 or 99 positive comments and they'll get one negative one.
Yep.
And certain people will basically hyperfixate on that one negative comment. In fact, that's more normal than we
That's the
think.
people
I was going
pleaser
to
one.
say, is that
and
not
the
normal for
perfectionist.
everyone?
It is quite normal. That's quite normal. And again, it's the brain's mechanism to protect us from risk.
Okay.
And it's saying, well, you did all these things, and sure, all those people talked, but that one person said.
So that comes back to what you were saying about the evidence list.
It helps you override
Yeah.
all of that stuff. So we are hardwired to look at the no's, the nots, the nevers, and to look at all those disasters purposefully from a risk perspective.
Yeah.
So my alternative to fake it till you make it, which is much more empowering, and this is where I think people can get some benefit, is act as if. Act as if. Now, this is a way of modelling who you want to become. So when you act as if, you start to formulate, as a leader, who do I want to look like? What is my leadership style? And there are many different leadership styles. You know, there's servant-focused leadership. There is mine is the one where you can change I can't even remember what the name of it is. There's lots of different. No, it's like a chameleon one. I can't even remember when you enhance or transform your leadership based on who's in front of you.
Oh, so you adapt, basically.
Yeah. So there's lots of different leadership styles, and it's about finding, as a leader, who are you becoming? Not who do you want to become, but who are you becoming, and being intentional.
Okay.
So it's a way of saying, what are the qualities of good leadership? If I'm going to act as if, even though I'm not in that role right now, but if that's who I want to become or who I'm becoming, that starts now. That starts from how you show up at any level in a business.
Yeah, I think you can do the two. You can say, who do I want to be? How do I authentically get there?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, it's not like I'm going to pretend to be like them so I can get there. It's I'm going to use the talents
No.
and gifts that I've got
100%,
to get there.
and that's really important.
Yeah.
So the act as if is a much better way of dealing with this topic over and above fake it till you make it.
Okay.
Because there's too much risk for me. There's too much risk, and it's not authentic.
You're in a situation. You own a business. You've been asked to speak at something. First time speaking. Obviously, you can research. You can do evidence as to why these people would ask you. You can, okay, I'm going to do this authentically. But there's still going to be that, why me? What else can we do to take that step without being fake?
Give me more context.
So you've been asked to speak. You're going, really? Me? Me speak at a conference? Why would you want to hear from me? You're going, okay, well, here's the evidence that I've got is this. Might not be overwhelming enough to convince you. I'm a good person, but there might not be enough authenticity to get me to that spot in front of the crowd. So what else can I do? Is that then going to be no, I don't want to speak?
Well, I guess it depends on the person, but if you've been invited to speak, there'll be a reason. It's somebody's seen a light in you or a value in you that you may not even know yet. And so they are saying, I want to give you this opportunity because I believe in you.
Okay.
So when you start questioning, okay, what, not just why me, but why did that person ask me to do this? What have they seen in me that I'm the right person for this role? So again, stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about these people around you.
Yep. Okay, then you've got the flip side of that, where maybe you've made the decision that you need to put yourself out there more. So you're trying to find opportunities. How can you ask for that nicely?
Great question. My method is purely through attraction. So I hate cold calling. In fact, because I'm an ambivert, ambivert? Ambivert.
I've
mix
heard it.
of introvert and extrovert.
Okay.
So I'm not deeply analytical, and if I have too much peopling, I need to hide away and do something creative to rebalance my energy and to self-sustain, I guess, or self-generate my energy. I believe the easiest way, and people will argue with me, but you've got to find what works for you. Cold calling's great for some people. I know some speakers, as an example, are incredible cold callers. So they just bite the bullet and do it, but they get the results. That doesn't work for everyone. So for me, my focus has always been, what value can I share through my platforms? How can I be helpful? And occasionally I'll throw in a call to action. And then through that, people go, wow, she's really helpful. Oh, wow, I got a gig, a really big gig as a speaker through one TikTok video.
Nice. What was in the video?
It was just talking about how to show up authentically at work.
Clever.
And so that triggered me getting a big gig, you know? So it's about, rather than thinking, you've got to find your flow.
Yeah.
And like for me, cold calling wasn't it. Even though I've done it for years, it just wasn't my fit. So it's much more focused on how can I serve, how can I help others.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it comes back to, if you focus on how you help others, you're not focusing on yourself, because your brain can only process a certain amount of information at any given time. So if you're overwhelmed thinking about you, stop.
Think about somebody else.
Think about someone else.
I like it. I think I'm going to be using that for the rest
It's
of
quite good. It's quite cool.
Yeah.
It is really simple. I wish I had have known this 25 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've given us a lot already. We've got the
thanks.
list of evidence, which I think is a strong one, because that
It is
takes
quite
all
cool.
the emotion out of it. You've got the not fake it till you make it, act as if.
And create who you want to become.
Yeah.
Because every day you have that opportunity. If
It's
it's
a
good enough
decision.
for Lady Gaga,
Yeah.
it's good enough for all of us.
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah. It's a decision, right?
Yeah.
You don't just fall forward and suddenly become someone.
No, and the thing is that these self-limiting beliefs that become what we call imposter syndrome, they are all in your subconscious, but they started out through the gateway of your conscious mind. So if we come back to the conscious moment and we start to change the narrative, that narrative soon becomes the stories in new books. And the more we access those new books in our library,
There's a movie that does this.
the more then we start to change the narrative, and
Yeah.
and our actions are only governed by the beliefs and the thoughts that are in our mind.
Yeah.
So it's a case of you rewrite your programs, rewrite the stories.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. I've got my last question is, does it ever fully go away? And you've kind of answered it with no, it doesn't. But there's different ways to deal with it.
There are different ways to deal with it, and the more that you focus on who you're becoming and how you serve, the more you start to write new narratives.
Yeah.
Dr. Brené Brown, who I adore, she says that authenticity, and I think I mentioned this in the last interview as well, authenticity is a daily practice.
Yeah.
And every single day we have the opportunity to create who we want to become. And when you focus on the good stuff and how you serve, you literally overwrite or you start to overwrite
Yeah.
that program called
Yeah.
Imposter Syndrome.
Yes. Love it. So if our listeners want to get a hold of you for a speaking gig or anything else,
Yes.
how can they
Book
do
me,
that?
yeah. They can head to my website, moniquebradley.tv. You'll see all of a list of some of the great clients I've worked with, which are pretty awesome, which is my evidence list.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely reach out, or they can get in touch with me through LinkedIn, Monique
Yeah.
Bradley on LinkedIn. I'm kind of everywhere.
You are. You are.
So-
You would be hard to not find.
Yeah, that's very true. The other thing I just want to finish up with, if this is okay, is
Yeah.
for people to understand that what a syndrome actually is, and I want to get a little bit geeky.
This
a
is why you
syndrome,
said the name. You were
Yeah.
not that kind of
and
comfortable
I
with it.
have a real problem. A syndrome itself is just medically is a group of symptoms. So
Okay.
irritable bowel syndrome, as an example, is a whole lot of symptoms in the gut that they don't really know the cause and they don't really know how to cure it. Imposter syndrome is not medically defined as a syndrome. That's what I want to actually put out there, number
Okay,
one.
so it's slang jargon.
Kind of, yeah.
Yep.
And number two, it's just a collection of feelings. And the great thing is that feelings change.
Excellent.
So
What
I
would
really-
you call it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't give it a name, because I think sometimes when we have a name like that, we then have a bit of a barrier to success. I can't
Yep.
do this because of imposter syndrome, and I want people to get out of using it as an excuse.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got to stop.
It's like calling Beetlejuice or Candyman.
there you go, exactly the same. We've got to get rid of that label.
Yeah.
And it is normal to have fears.
Yes.
It is normal to have self-limiting beliefs
And be
self-doubt-
uncomfortable.
doubt, and be uncomfortable. In
Yep.
fact, when we do, it's our sign of growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we need to acknowledge it and go, wow, I'm feeling really uncomfortable. This is an opportunity for me to grow. So I had to add that in, because
So it's not imposter syndrome, it's getting out of comfort zone.
it is growth.
Growth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boxes and Briefs is proudly brought to you by Gilligan Shepherd, the problem solvers in business.